Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 20 fall Dollar Tree DIYs for you from the Crafty Vault, and the theme today is like fall forest, lots of fun fall animal Dollar Tree DIYs. I hope you enjoy.
So I wanted to see if I could do a really cool take on the little fox sign from Dollar Tree. So the first thing I do is just remove the hanger and fill the little hole in with a little spackle. I want to paint the squirrel to look like a fox, but I also wanted to have fur like a fox. So I'm going to use that Dollar Tree pampas grass that you saw there in the fall colors, and this turned out so fun. But the first step is to paint it. So I'm just going over the entire fox sign with white acrylic. And the fox is going to have some white parts, so that will be good for that. It has the raised tip of the foxtail and the raised top part of its head, also like the raised eyes and one of the little fox legs. Now, like a fox's eyes are really like in the orange part, not necessarily the white part, but I know that a lot of signs design it this way. Now, I was trying to match that pampas grass that I got at Dollar Tree, so I used a little golden sunset mixed with a little bit of orange for my perfect fox color. And then I'm just going to go in and start painting this. It's a little tricky when you get to the little bump out parts there, trying not to get like orange paint all over them. But I can always touch them up if I do. So I just start with a little foxtail. They kind of have like a little white area of fluffy fur that comes down on their chest. So I do kind of like a triangular shape there. I'm going to leave that white and then paint the little fox body, that beautiful gold color. And then also this little bump out part here where his ears and the top of his head, that beautiful golden color. I did get a little paint on the white, but I'm just going to go in with my baby wipe and kind of clean that up and touch it up with some more white paint. So if you're a little bit neater of a painter than me, then you might not get any on there, but I did have to touch it up a little bit there. Now it's time to do the rest of it. I kind of wanted it to look fluffy here for the little chest of the fox. So I do like a little graduated look, and then I'm also going to use that same golden color for his eyes. Now I'm going to give him his little black fox boots because I want him to look really super cute. So I just kind of give it a regular edge at the top, kind of like you would see on fur. And then also this little foot that's peeking out is going to be black too. Now the eyes were a little tricky because they were shaped kind of uniquely. I didn't know if they wanted me to do like closed eyes or open eyes. So I did the golden. I tried to outline it with a paint pen, but I thought it was too thick. So I went back and did it with a black Sharpie. It's going to give me a little bit finer line here. And then I'm also going to give little like kind of square pupils. And I can do that with a black paint pen to make them a little bit darker. And then I'm going to give him a little tiny fox nose right here underneath where the little bump out part is. I just do a little black triangle. And I want it to go all the way up and meet the golden. So I use a little tiny brush and some black paint to help fill that in a little bit. I don't want to give him a super big nose, just something nice and cute there. And I want it to look like a little triangle. I think he's looking super cute. I'm going to give a little like white reflection here in the pupil of his eye just to give that a little bit more character. And now it's time for fox fur. So this is the pampas grass that we're going to use. I got one sprig of this color and I thought it would be perfect for a fox fur. I don't know why I thought that, but I just did. So I'm just going to take one piece of the pampas grass at a time. And then I'm just going to remove the pampas grass to make it look like fur. I try to just do half of it and then a bundle of it. Try to get a good control of that. And then just start using some hot glue here on the little foxtail and start gluing that down. I'm going to do kind of like fur similar to the pampa, to the sisal that we used on the raccoon, where it kind of overlaps a little bit and it all kind of goes in one direction. And I'm just hot gluing that all in place. Now, when you're first putting it on there, it kind of looks like a mess because you're going around all these different angles, but just remember you can always go back and give it a trim and it's going to make it look cleaner. Now I, painted it orange underneath because of course there's going to be lots of areas where there isn't any of the fur. So you're going to be able to see that through there. And I think they complement each other nicely. I think we did a good job there on the color. So just going to cover the rest of his body here, letting a little bit extra fluff come down on his chest like a little fox. And then we're going to start here on the head, making the fur kind of go back towards the back of the head. And I don't give a lot of details to his ears. He's just going to have furry little fox ears. And I pretty much used the entire piece of pampas grass until I got enough to cover it all up. I don't want the hot glue to be real noticeable, so I try to like clean up any like glue strings and stuff like that we might have. And now it's time. He needs a little fox trim. So I'm going to go in with my scissors and cut around the shape of the fox sign to cut off any of the fur that's too long or overlapping things too much. And then I'm also going to trim it up a little bit just to make it look a little bit better. I kind of like the extra fluff here on his little chest. And I didn't really think that you got like the white fur effect that I wanted for the fox chest. So I am going to add to that to make it look a little fluffier there. But just going to go ahead and trim his head, just going around the shape of that little bump out. It's okay if it overlaps a little bit. I just want him to look really furry like a fox. I'm so glad I decided to add the pampas grass to this guy because I think he has so much character now. I just absolutely love him. So once I got the shape all cut out, I just go in and trim here and there, wherever I think he needs a little bit of a trim. And then I want to take this and put it on another sign to kind of make a little bit more of a more substantial piece. And I couldn't decide at first what I wanted to put it on, so I thought I would make him first and then decide from there. Now this is what I'm going to use for the fluff for his chest. This is the white automotive towel from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take a little piece here and cut a little triangular piece for his little fluffy fox chest. So I just kind of cut that down to size of his neck and then cut a triangular shape. And then I also want it to look fluffy. So I just do little cuts along the sides to give it that extra little fluffy furry look. And this is already a really kind of fluffy fabric. And then I'm just going to hot glue that right there underneath the little fox head, kind of overlapping our little pampas fur. And then I decided to do it on a Dollar Tree wood round. I think that's going to be a really nice size. And I found these great placemats on clearance at Target the other day. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the hanger. I don't really like the hanger that comes on those. Replace that with some twine so that I can knot it in the front. So I just use Dollar Tree twine, feed it through, knot it in the front. And then we're going to use one of those great placemats from the Dollar Tree for the front. Not the Dollar Tree, actually from Target. These were on clearance for $1.80 at my Target in the kitchen section, and you get two. So they're only 90 cents a piece, so cheaper than the Dollar Tree. But look at this great fabric. I went back today to get more. I had grabbed 2 packages of them before, and I wish I would have grabbed more because I absolutely loved crafting with these. So cool. I'm going to kind of use mine upside down. I like the texture on the bottom a little better, and it's larger than I need for the wood round sign. Now I do have those knots coming through with the hanger, so I decided just to go ahead and kind of include that in my design. Because there's holes in this, I can just kind of feed the little knot through. So instead of a bump, I actually have like the rope coming through, and I'll just add another little texture to the front of my sign. So I just kind of find out where that is. Then using like a little Cricut weeder, I just kind of feed that through. And then we can start attaching this. I do half of it at a time because I don't want my hot glue to set up. So I do the top half. I just line this up I'm going to have a couple extra rows around the edges to cut off, and then I want to go ahead and hot glue the bottom half on. And this was so easy to trim. This is why I went back today trying to find more of these. Maybe I should go to Target in another town because I want more of these. I think these would be great for coastal crafting, also great for fall crafting. So I just trimmed that down to the size of my wood round from the Dollar Tree, and it looks so much more high end now. And I think that's going to provide a really cute backdrop for this beautiful little furry fox. And he's going to fit on there just perfectly. I thought about adding a word to it, but I decided I just wanted maybe a few fall touches. So this is how he looks on there. Isn't that so darling? And all I have to do is attach it. So I'm just going to hot glue him straight to the placemat. I use a lot of hot glue because I don't want him falling off. And then there's a little bit of area to the right of his head there where I do have some room for some fall touches, but this is what he looks like so far. I decided to use those same fall leaves that we used on our little raccoon pumpkin with like the 2 different colors. They complement the fox really nicely. So I'm just going to do 2. I just cut the stems off of them, and I'm just going to hot glue them right next to him, just kind of alternating the colors. And it gives it just a little touch of fall for our little fox sign. Look how cute he turned out. I'm absolutely in love with this little guy as well. So here's our little pampas grass furry fox using supplies from the Dollar Tree and a clearance placemat from Target. He's so cute. I'm so glad I decided to give him little black boots there.
I really hope you're enjoying today's video. If you are, be sure to hit that like button, and if you could hype this video, I would really appreciate it. Now back to the DIYs.
I designed a great printable of a squirrel and some pumpkins to put on a Dollar Tree acorn. So this is just an acorn sign from the Dollar Tree, just the plain wood one. And I made this 8.5 by 8.5 inches, the image. Mine kind of shrank it down to 97% because I don't have like edge-to-edge printing, but that's fine. And I will include a link to the printable in the video description below. And I just set my acorn right on top and just trace out like the bottom part of the acorn so that I can cut that down to size. I printed this on white cardstock. I get this at Target, like by the ream. I like to Mod Podge with this because it doesn't wrinkle. It's so easy to cut and to craft with, and I think it turned out cute. So I think this image is really pretty for like a woodland animal theme. So all it's going to take is a little bit of Mod Podge here all over the little acorn, and then just laying the cardstock on there. And then I'm going to do something else for the little acorn cap. Once I get it on there and dry, I do go over it with one more coat of Mod Podge just to seal that on there. Give it a finished look. It's going to make it look a lot less like paper and more like a finished item. Now, I was trying to decide what to do with the acorn cap, and I wanted something with some texture. So I decided to use Dollar Tree rope, the brown rope, and more specifically, this is like the thinner kind. Now, it's kind of an arched shape there for the acorn cap, so I'm going to kind of go with that and do rows of rope. You could also use, there's so many things from Dollar Tree you could use for this. If you wanted texture, you could also use burlap. I think that would look really cute too. I just wanted to kind of see what it would look like with rope. So I hot glue that along this end and then cut it down to size. And then I'm just going to keep doing that until I go down and it will meet up with the picture and cover up the top of the image. Now, I was kind of confused, like if I could keep doing that same length. I decided I didn't want it to be super thick on the sides once I started getting down on the image that's on the acorn. And so once I get like the cap part full for the sides, I decided to start making it a little bit smaller. So after this row, I start shortening them a little bit because I still have area I need to fit in there. And, my sheet of paper is only so big. So I just make it, like a half an inch shorter there on the side, on both sides. And it kind of gives you an interesting texture there. And then I make this one a little bit shorter as well. And that's going to be good because that's going to cover up all of the paper and seal that in. Then I'm just going to cut some smaller pieces of rope to do the very top part. I just left the existing hanger on there. We'll just kind of glue that under there and we could still use the existing hanger. And that's how easy this DIY was. I think it turned out so cute. Look at this beautiful image. I love this, and I will share this in my Google Drive so you can print this, create the same thing. I just need a little bit of trimming around my little acorn cap there with the rope just to make sure I don't have any hanging off the ends. And this is how he turned out. I love the colors. I love the green and the orange and that beautiful watercolor of a squirrel. And this is how it turned out. I think it's really pretty. So my little squirrel acorn DIY is complete. He's kind of a fat little squirrel there, isn't he? He's so sweet. I love his little ears standing straight up. Okay, the next DIY, I wanted to use some of the wire reforms from the Dollar Tree. I decided on the medium size one. And then I also found that great mushroom sign at the Dollar Tree that's made out of metal. Now, it's really easy to break these. You just kind of have to find the area where it comes together. And I thought I was going to need tools, but I didn't. I just bent it back and forth and it just popped right open. And I thought we would do that because we could string this entire wreath with Dollar Tree mushrooms. I picked up a package of red, a package of brown, and a package of yellow. They also come in blue. And I'm just going to stab the wreath form through them. So you do have to push kind of hard. The stem itself was pretty easy, but to get it through that second part, you do have to apply a little bit of pressure. I noticed even though I was going through the center of the stem, it does kind of come out the side of the top, but that's okay because I kind of want the back of the mushroom to be a little skinnier so it'll lay flat against my wall because we're making a little mushroom wreath for the wall. Now I'm going to be using all of these, so a total of 9 almost fills up the medium size wreath form perfectly. And when I say medium size, you buy these in a 3-pack. There's like a small one, a medium one, and a large one. And this is such an easy way to attach these. Just have to give a little bit of muscle to get that cap on there. But otherwise it just goes straight through. It also breaks the foam at the top a little bit, but you can kind of push that back in without much damage. So we're going to just keep stringing them. As you can see, I'm just doing the same pattern over and over. And so you have a consistent pattern. Now, when I get them all on there, I do try to push the foam back in the tops anywhere that's broken. And we're going to do the little metal mushroom sign in middle. I think that's going to be perfect. To cinch it off, I just go ahead and put the little wire into each one of the mushroom next to it. Add a little hot glue to keep that all together. The foam mushrooms themselves are very lightweight, so I don't think it's going to be too hard to keep this together. And then I tried to space them out a little bit because there is a little bit of space between each mushroom when you use a total of 9. But you get a perfect pattern like that if you wanted to do these colors. And then I want to hang this little metal gather mushroom sign right in the middle. I love mushrooms for fall. I think that's a really fun design idea. I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine and tie this off. And then I'm going to tie that around the wire wreath form. Now I should have tied it before I tied it on there to keep good spacing because I cut it nice and long so I can also use this for a wreath hanger. So I knotted it, made sure that it was hanging even, but I should have knotted it underneath the wire too. And I'll show you what that causes here in a minute. So I got that hanging on there well. And then I just tie this again in a knot to make a little hanger for a wreath. And that's when I realized I should have tied it below it too, because when I hang it on the wall, it's going to move this up. So to prevent that from happening, I just added a little hot glue there to the back. And then I also go in there with some twine to kind of tie it off to make sure that my hanger does not move up when I tie it off or when I hang it on the wall. So I'm just going to wrap another piece of twine around right here at the base. And that's really where I should have tied a knot. I kind of forgot to tie that one. But problem solved. And this is how it looks so far. I thought it would be fun to kind of fill in the little areas between all the mushrooms to give it a more natural touch. You don't really want to be seeing the wire through there. So to do that, I'm going to use some of that brown moss from the Dollar Tree again. It's not going to take much. And again, this is kind of messy. But I thought if I glued a little bit, I could keep it in place. So I just add some hot glue here to the gap between the mushrooms and just put a tiny bit of the brown moss, gluing it in place. And then we're just going to repeat that between every single one of the mushrooms. It just gives it a little bit of a natural element. And this was, I kind of had this vision in my head. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull this off, but such an easy way to attach those mushrooms to a wreath. And it actually hangs really nicely on my wall. If you wanted to hang it on your door, you totally could. But again, it's a little bit on the smaller size, being that medium size wreath form. So we got all the different areas with moss in between. And I think it's a great way to use that little gather sign as well, which is super cute. It's very colorful compared to a lot of the DIYs we're doing today. But again, we have that natural fall element because we're representing moss and mushrooms for fall. And I loved that little galvanized metal sign. I just knew I needed to find a DIY so that I can incorporate that in my fall decor.
Okay, for the next DIY, I picked up 3 of these oval wood slice signs from the Dollar Tree. One of mine is a little bit broken, but I think that's okay. It's going to add to the charm, the rustic charm of this, right? I want to take these and make a pumpkin with them. I thought that'd make a really cool pumpkin. The fact that they're like oval shaped like this, I can put 3 of them together and make a fun standing pumpkin. I'm going to use my pliers to remove the hangers. You have to be really careful when you do this and gently pull that staple out. Otherwise, it takes all the bark off, kind of like what's missing on that one right there. So you just have to really kind of take your time. Pliers work really well for this, and take these out. They also have these in circles if you wanted to do a circular pumpkin, but I really liked how they turned out with the oval. I'm going to stack 2 behind, 1 on top, kind of like that. And I love the wood being all crazy like that, but I also want to kind of decoupage it. So I'm hoping that you could see through the napkins and see the wood grain, and you can. So I picked up some fall napkins from the Dollar Tree, and these are perfect for decoupage. When you open it up, it is a 2-ply napkin, so I'm going to go ahead and separate that into 1 ply. Makes Mod Podging possible. It's kind of got like 6 little sections here, and they fit my little oval size almost perfectly. So I'm just going to cut a section out here for one side. Go ahead and cut my other 2 here for the other ones. I thought this would provide a lot of color, the fall leaves on there. It's going to be thin enough. I think a lot of that rustic wood is going to come through the wood grain. And so I'm ready to Mod Podge them on. When you're doing napkins, you can go really thin with your Mod Podge. You don't want a lot of wrinkling, but I also want good coverage. I make sure that it is pretty good and covered, but thin, and then simply lay my napkin right on top. I was trying not to include the brown line there at the bottom of the napkin if I could. I use a dry paper towel to kind of smooth that out. I do that so I don't accidentally rip them if my hands have any moisture or anything like that on there. And we're going to do the same thing here for sign number 2. Again, using a paper towel, and I was thrilled to see that you could see all that rustic wood coming through it. It's kind of what I was going for. I really kind of wanted a rustic fall pumpkin to go with like the woodland theme. So we're going to do the same thing here. Again, on all of those, I tried not to include the brown line. If I could, you might be able to see a little bit of it on there, but if that bothers you, you could always kind of cut further up the napkin if you use these exact napkins. And then once it's dry, I go around it with a sanding block and I'm sanding it. It's going to give me a perfect cut here for the little wood slice. And I do want it to look a little bit rustic too, but I also want to make sure I remove all the excess paper. And some of these wood slices are really kind of random shaped like that. I'm just kind of going where the bark meets the sign is the place that I'm sanding, and again, cutting that down to size. A couple of these were easier than the other ones, but again, I don't really want any of the original wood showing through, but you know, if you wanted to do just the wood since it looks so cool as the pumpkin, I think that would turn out really cool too. So again, doing that on all three of my signs. I was trying to decide if I wanted like all of my bark kind of going in the same direction on this pumpkin DIY. And I do end up thinking that looks the best. So it's time to lay them out. I wanted to make sure that everything was down. I did have one loose little piece of napkin. And I do want to kind of cover up my damaged area there with the bark if I can. Yeah, I think it looks better like this with all of the bark going the same direction. To connect it together, I'm just using some hot glue here to connect both signs underneath at once, trying to line up my bottom as straight across as I can because I want this to be a standing pumpkin sign. For the pumpkin stem, I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree wood stems. I love these things. I did find one that was a little bit curvy and then two kind of straight ones for stands. And if you don't have these, you can always use sticks from your yard if you have those. I do like a curvy wood stem if I can get it, but I didn't think I had anything to glue it to. So I'm actually going to use just one of the Dollar Tree stones here on the back. You won't be able to see it, but it's going to give me one more thing to glue this wood stem to for a little bit of stability. I glue it to the pebble and I also glue it to that wood slice. Kind of peeking out from behind. And then the other wood stems are about the same size because I wanted to make a little stand to make it stand up. The signs themselves are pretty thin. They're not going to stand up on their own without a stand. But make sure you get them even. Since the bark was a little bit random on mine, I need this one to go a little bit lower. And so no big deal. I was able to move that when I noticed it. That looks better. And it sits level. Now I do want to decorate the top of it with a little bit of a bow. I have some of the Dollar Tree raffia, which I actually got at Goodwill. You know, sometimes you can find stuff that at Goodwill, and look, it was even cheaper, 99 cents versus $1.25, right? And I just go ahead and take one piece, splitting it in two. I want a lot of skinny raffia to make a bow with. I take one more piece and add that to the two that I already have. So I have three. I'm going to trim them so they're about the same length. And I simply wrap it around the wood stem in a simple bow like you're tying your shoes. So I go ahead and tie it down once like that. I want to make sure that I have enough length on the raffia, and that looks good because I do want to, again, tie it in a bow. I do go ahead and separate some of the strands into more because I want it to be really kind of frilly and skinny. And then just tie it like you're tying your shoes, a little simple bow here at the top. And kind of off to the side makes it look cute too. I kind of mess with the raffia to get it looking exactly the way I want it. And then I'm going to add a fall leaf. These are the little fall leaves from Dollar Tree. I think the orange one, the dark orange one, would look really nice. It would match the napkin that we used to decoupage. So I just attached that with a dot of hot glue to the top of our pumpkin. And here is our little rustic fall leaf pumpkin. I think it turned out so cute. It has so much character with those wood slices being all kind of crazy and jagged. I always pick those up, rectangle, circle, and oval whenever I can because they are fantastic to craft with. Isn't that so pretty? I told you we were going to use the clear glass pumpkin, and this time we're going to use the fairy garden lights for it to make a fun little light for my home. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove the tag from the bottom. It almost came off. I love it. There's nothing better than when a tag comes off with like little effort. And I'm going to use those fairy garden lights to light it up. So again, I'm going to pop some batteries in there, some double A's. I wanted this to be more traditional fall color since it's clear to kind of make it look like a pumpkin. So I'm going to be using some of the orange pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, some of the orangish, brownish acorns, and some more of that potpourri from the Dollar Tree. So these work great. I'm going to go ahead and unwind them before I get started. And I want to kind of disguise the jar lid on this one just to make it look more finished. So I'm going to do that with just some Dollar Tree rope and some hot glue. I just go around it like 3 times, kind of going and actually in the grooves of the screw-on lid there to cover that up because I don't want there to be a lid on this one because I'm going to have the battery pack. I'm going to be storing it on the outside of this one as well. So this is what it looks like with the rope. And again, I like the clear pumpkin too, especially when you could add some color to it. So I'm going to start here with some potpourri. Again, I'm kind of using all the colors except for the white, like the white flowery pieces. I don't really like those. And then I thought the warmness of the color of this acorn combined with those little orange pumpkins would give this a lot of color and fall vibes. These are the little pumpkins that are wired. They do come out. They come out probably a little cleaner than the clips. And they're a nice tiny size, and the paint job is not too bad on them this year. So I'm going to put some pumpkins in there and put my lights all the way around them, just kind of coiling them in there so you can see the lights from the outside. And it's going to light up all these pretty things that we're adding inside this pumpkin. A little bit more of that potpourri. And I don't craft often with potpourri, but it smells really nice. Maybe I should. Some more of the acorns scattered in here. And I just add potpourri, acorns, pumpkins. I just keep alternating until I fill that entire jar. Now, I have made a candle out of one of these pumpkin jars from the Dollar Tree one time. And one of my viewers told me that it says they're not suitable for hot liquids. I didn't have any trouble using that candle though, but I guess it's always a good idea to check. They do sometimes have a warning on them, I guess, if you read the fine print on the bottom. I'm just going to hide my little battery pack here on the back where you won't be able to see it, and I'll be able to turn the lights on and off easily. Now, I do want it to have a pumpkin stem, so once I get it full, I just put a Dollar Tree wood stem in there, sticking straight up like that. So this one actually does have a pumpkin stem, and it lights up as well. This is what it looks like with the acorns, the pumpkins, the lights, and the potpourri in there. It's very colorful and fun for fall. And this is what it looks like lit up at night, super festive and fun. I love those jars. I always try to pick them up every year because I always can find something fun to do with them. So again, this is day, and then this is night. Really fun and festive for fall.
So the next DIY, I wanted to make an owl leaf wreath. So I'm just going to use one of these little wire reforms. I chose the medium size one, but you could do any size you want. And I want to make a cool like leaf wreath that looks like an owl. So I tried to like bend it into an oval shape. And unfortunately, it kind of broke right there at the seam on the bottom. But that's okay. I don't think that's really going to be important. I did try to like hot glue it back together, but I think once we get it all assembled, it's going to stay together anyway. But I kind of wanted that like upside down teardrop shape for our owl. And then I was trying to decide if I wanted it to be an open reef or a closed reef, and I couldn't really decide. So I decided to use this like rug backer from Dollar Tree to make it have a back, but then it'll be see-through, right? This stuff's really fun to craft with because it's got this cool texture, and a lot of times I use it for like fishing nets or stuff like that for coastal crafting. But I think this is going to be fun on this. Just another little fun texture. And I just hot glue it all the way around. I just cut the square a little bit larger than the reef. But once I get it all glued down, then I can trim off all the excess rug backer just by cutting around the wire And you don't have to get it too close because we're going to be covering that with the little burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree. And I think that's going to look like the sides of the owl and the tail and kind of fill it out and give it that shape of an owl. So I went to Dollar Tree today and they had these burlap leaves in the fall section in all different colors. So I got tan, I got red, I got green, I got like gold or that orange color. I was so impressed with how many colors they had. So we're going to use all of them. We're going to make this little owl reef super colorful. Now, they do have wire on them. And at first I thought about like actually using the wire to string it to them, but they're actually easier to hot glue on. So that's what we're going to do. I just used a little twine now while I could to make a little hanger for a wreath because then that part will be covered up. So it's just a matter of removing the wire from the back. I mean, you could try to string it with the wire, but you're going to have to go in and out of the mesh if you use any kind of a backing on the back of your wreath. I'm going to start right here at the tail and just hot glue down one of the little tan burlap leaves. I think these are so cool. These are like the, I guess, oak leaves. They also have the larger ones that are maple. I don't craft with them as much just because I feel like they're a little bit too large. But I just do one on each side. That way it's kind of symmetrical. And then I can switch colors. I'm going to switch up to these red ones. And I'm going to hot glue like half the leaf there and then have like the other half like overlapping the tan. I'm trying to give the appearance of feathers, but using leaves. So I thought that'd be fun for fall. I switch it up and we're going to do green next. And that takes us like 3/4 of the way up our little owl wreath and then orange for the top. And if you can't find all these colors, I think if you could find maybe just a couple, you could get the same effect. I think this would also be really cute with the leather leaves. You can see I had some there in case I decided to use them, but I didn't really have a great variety of those. Then for the owl eyes, I'm going to use these fall flowers from the Dollar Tree. I think they look like really fun owl eyes. And then I can use some more of those burlap leaves for the little ear tufts for our little owl. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the wire from 2 more of those. I'm going to go back to that tan color since I haven't used that since the very bottom. And then just hot glue those and filling out the remaining part of our little wreath there, avoiding the hanger. And now we have our little owl eyes. I can just kind of poke those through the netting, hot gluing that to the back. Those were super easy to attach. I'm going to do one on each side. I think it's a fun way to do owl eyes with the flowers because they definitely resemble that. And I just hot glue them in place, just giving them a little bit of time to set up. Now, the only thing I have left to do on my little owl, this was so easy to put this little owl wreath together, is it needs a little owl beak. And I thought a really fun thing to use for an owl beak would be to use a Dollar Tree acorn. So I picked a nice long one, and then we're just going to hot glue that onto the material on the back of the wreath. Right there where a little owl beak would be. And it's a very kind of abstract kind of owl, but I think when you look at it, you can tell what it is supposed to be. It was definitely an easy owl fall DIY, but I think it turned out really cute. I love that the flowers for the owl eyes are burlap too. So I've got like all these fall colors of burlap all mixed together. Fall flowers, an acorn, everything kind of screams fall, but I think it definitely looks like an owl. And you could totally make this larger. This is kind of the mini version, if you will, because I kind of use the medium size. It's not too large, but I thought this would make a really fun wall hanging for my home for fall. What do you guys think about my little burlap leaf owl wreath? I love him. I think he's really fun. Okay, since we have some leftover wax, let's go ahead and DIY something else really quickly. And I got one of these little candle holders from Dollar Tree. It's brown. It's beautiful. It's got like a gold leaf on it. that's like really kind of like intricately carved. And I think this is going to be a beautiful candle. Now, I couldn't really get my hands down in there to put the little sticker down in there for the wick. So you kind of have to make do. I have a plastic knife that I was using to stir my candle. So I'm going to use that to kind of put that down in there and stick it to the bottom. And then also to attach the wick to it and get this popsicle stick set up before our wax starts to set up on me. So that looks good. So let's go ahead and pour in the rest of our wax. This was a little bit larger than I thought it was, and so it didn't fill it up as much as I wanted, but it was already melting another one because we have so many candle DIYs today that I was able to take a little bit of wax from theirs as well to fill it up till I was happy with it. I am going to give it a quick stir though so that the fragrance gets kind of all mixed in with the candle. And then we're going to let this sit, and it turned out so cute. Look how adorable this little candle holder is. And having your own custom like little fall scented candle inside, I think it's so pretty, and I think it's a lot more fun than putting like a votive in there. Look how beautiful that little leaf is on the front of it. They have these in several different colors at my Dollar Tree, but I really think this like amber color really screams fall. And so I think this is going to go great with my fall decor. It's nice and small too, so you could also get away with this on a tier tray if you'd like. So let's light this candle, see how it looks. Beautiful fall glow and super cozy. And next DIY, I'm kind of obsessed with these wood slices from Dollar Tree if you can't tell. This is like the oval one. I want to make it into a little owl, but I want it to be like vertical. So I don't really need the hangers to be on the side. So I'm going to carefully remove those. I'm not going to go after the staples. Sometimes when I do, it like totally splits open the little wood slice. But I thought we could make the wood slice actually look like an owl using some of the burlap leaves and burlap flowers from the Dollar Tree. So the first thing I do is just loop some twine to make a little hanger for the back. Going to use my staple gun to staple that on there so we have a nice thick piece of wood. And then flowers for owl eyes. I thought maybe we could do that with some of these little burlap flowers from the Dollar Tree. I love these things. I think they're so cool. And then for all of the feathers on the owl, I thought we could use these little burlap leaves. They come in like tan and ivory color, and they come in 2 different sizes. And we're going to just piece those together. Now for the eyes on mine, I chose tan burlap flowers for each eye. I think they're going to be about the perfect size. I don't use the little plastic double-sided tape that they come with. I'm just going to hot glue mine on. And then for the body of the owl, I thought I'd switch it up and do like the ivory burlap by switching up the different sizes and shapes to do like little owl scales, feather scales down the front. So like this row, I can fit about 3 of the smaller ones. And they're super easy to attach with a little bit of hot glue. This DIY was really easy too, and it turned out so fun. I think this would actually be really fun for like a Christmas ornament too, or just a fall hanging for somewhere that's kind of small. So I switched it up and did a row of like 2 of the larger ones, and then I'm going to go back and do 3 of the smaller ones. And as you can see, I'm kind of just overlapping them as I go. It'd probably be a little bit easier to start on the bottom with that one. And another one here on the bottom. Then I thought we could use like the tan or the brown ones to do like little wings coming down the side of the owl, kind of like that. And I have different sizes, and that's fine. I can just kind of mix that up. And I just hot glue those to the sides, kind of overlapping the sides, sticking out a little bit like a wing would. And I kind of had this owl vision in my head. I really didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I really like it. I think it's really fun and sweet. So this is definitely another version of the burlap owl that you can do on a smaller scale. So I'm going to use some of those little leaves for the little ear tufts on this one as well. I thought I'd switch it up and do the ivory since the eyes are the brownish colors. And so I just hot glue the little ear tufts and then hot glue each one of the little flowers on for the owl eyes. Now I wanted like the pupil part of the eyes to be dark, so I'm just going to use a black paint pen and go in and just paint the center part of each one of the burlap flowers black, so it'll kind of pop out and look like an eye. Now I decided I wanted a little bit more of the burlap leaves here to fill out the bottom here. I trimmed one down just because I kind of needed some smaller ones. And just hot gluing that, I wanted to fill up the entire like wood slice. And then I decided I also wanted 2 more on the sides to kind of make the wings go all the way up. So I just did 1 more of the small one on each side. And this little owl DIY is looking really cute. The only thing he needs is a little owl beak. So again, I'm going to use one of those little orange burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree and just cut down a triangular beak for this little guy and hot glue it on with one end right underneath the eyes. And he is complete. I think he's really precious. Wouldn't this make like a really cute like Christmas ornament too? Because I love owls for winter too. But I think he turned out really cute. Here is a close-up of our little burlap owl wood slice. And every time I see those wood slices, I am picking them up because I love them. There's so many things that you can do with them, and they have such a cool texture with the bark around the sides. Isn't he sweet? I think he's really fun. Now, the next item we're going to try to do from Kirkland's are these Happy Fall plaid wood pumpkins. We're just going to do one of them. I thought we could do the one that says, "Let's Get Cozy," and they're regularly $59.99. For this set at Kirkland's, and we're going to do the same thing with one of these Dollar Tree wood pumpkins. It's got the same wood bump out sections on the front as those, so we can just totally make this our own. So I'm just going to remove the little raffia that was on there and any hot glue, and we can start painting this pumpkin to kind of make it look like the original. The original had like a ivory or white background, and then it had fall plaid on the bump out parts. Now they must have designed that plaid for that because I could not find a fall plaid anywhere near that fall plaid, so it must be a custom design that they used. So I just found a fall plaid that was as close as I could get to it, and we're going to try to make it work. But I just go over the whole pumpkin, front panels, back panels, everything with ivory. Just because it's inevitable, you're going to get it on the front pieces anyway. You might as well make them look uniform by having everything be the same color. Now here is the plaid image that I designed. The colors are similar. The pattern is similar. It's got a little bit more going on than theirs, but I think we can get pretty close with it. And I will share that free printable too. I just printed this one out on regular paper because I wanted to be able to sand it easily around these little pumpkin sections. And we're just going to Mod Podge it here to those sections all at once. That way the design will continue from one piece to the next, and I don't have to worry about lining it all up. So I just put it on top of all 3 of the little pumpkin sections and dry that on there. Now it's a matter of trying to kind of feel the little area between the sections. And then I just used a razor blade to kind of cut my paper so that I have like 3 different little pieces of paper so that we can then sand the paper down and get exact cuts for those little pumpkin sections. I'm going to use my little finger sander. The finger sander is kind of key for this. I got mine at Target, I think, because you can really get in between the little pumpkin sections. And as you can see, it will give you a perfect cut on that little raised section. And this is definitely the easiest way I have found to decorate the front parts of these with paper. And I'm really glad I decided to do it all at one time too, so I didn't have to worry about lining up that intricate plaid pattern. So we got our first section. We're just going to keep going, doing the same thing, just sanding until it kind of breaks away here all on its own. And go over this little section here. And the original piece that we're duping from Kirkland's was a standing pumpkin like this. This was a hanging sign, but we're just going to convert this and make it a standing sign so it'll be closer to the original. And we're even going to make a little tag to hang down in front like the original too. So here is our final section, sanded to perfection. I am going to touch up a little bit of my ivory paint. I might have kind of bumped here and there with the sandpaper. And I thought my pattern was a little bold. I'll show you how I tone it down in just a second. I do want to make sure it's good and sealed first though. So I do go over the top with more Mod Podge, working in thin coats because again, I use just regular printer paper for this. And I will share this plaid printable with you as well if you want to DIY with this. It's basically the same size as a sheet of paper. Once I got that dry, I decided to go over it with ivory, acrylic, a very thin coat, following that up with a wet baby wipe to kind of give me a whitewash. Because again, this was a lot bolder pattern than the original. So I was trying to tone down the color a little bit if I could. But if you like your plaid design, you know, that step is totally optional. But I really kind of like the plaid look on the pumpkin. Very fall. It reminds me of a fuzzy flannel shirt. Now, these are the tags that we're going to use. These are the little wood tags from Dollar Tree. It's a little bit different shape than the original, but it's got a hole to hang it, so I think it'll work perfectly. So I just paint my tag with ivory acrylic, the same color that we painted the back of the pumpkin. And you can use your Cricut for the word on there. I'm just going to freehand it just because I didn't really want to use my Cricut again. I'm not a big fan of weeding small letters. It can be a big issue. I also add another layer of whitewash on here just to tone down that plaid a little bit more. Kind of make it look hazy like that. And old, which is kind of the look I was going for. Now for the tag, I decided I didn't have a brown Sharpie, but I had a gold one. So I'm just going to freehand on here what it said on this original. It said, let's get cozy. Let's get in smaller case letters and then cozy all in caps. Now I noticed that my gold combined with the ivory paint really kind of looked gray. So I switched to my bronze Sharpie. I have so many Sharpie colors. I love them. And just sketched it out again. And then I distressed that with a little ivory to make it look not so much like marker and a little bit more distressed. And it would be more perfect with a Cricut, but hey, we're going with it. Now, for the leaves, the only leaves that I had from the Dollar Tree were these little burlap leaves. I think they're so cute. And so that's what we're going to use for our pumpkin leaves. I think they had metal leaves on the original piece, but we're going to do two of the little burlap leaves. I think that's going to go nicely right there on this side of the pumpkin stem. It's also going to cover the hanger hole, which we don't need anymore. So I just hot glue those to the pumpkin stem. I absolutely love those little burlap leaves and flowers they have now. I've been crafting with those a lot. Now they just hung their little tag straight directly in the front, in the center. So I'm going to do the same just by taking some Dollar Tree twine and looping this through and knotting it off, hanging it about the same area as the original. And I'm just going to do that by hot gluing the little knot right here, kind of where the little burlap leaves come together, and let that dangle down in front. They also had a little rope bow. So I decided to kind of get a similar look by using that same twine from the Dollar Tree, tying a very simple little bow and attaching that with hot glue. Right there, where all of that kind of comes together. Now it's time to make a base. I'm going to use some of the little jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 6 of them. Sometimes they come in the variety where some of them are like this dark brown color. So I'm going to glue 3 of them side to side like that for the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing here for the front. It's going to give me a little custom stand that's just the right size for a pumpkin, and it's actually strong enough to make it stand up on its own. I don't really like the color of them like that, so I decided to kind of paint and distress mine to kind of make them look like wood. So I kind of try to fill in my cracks between the different pieces with a little bit of spackle. You still can kind of see it, but I'm fine with that. So to get the wood look, I just go over them with ivory, distressing that brown color first, and kind of wiping off the excess there with a paper towel, kind of give a whitewash look to start with. And since there's no wood grain on there, I'm going to follow that up with some Antique Wax by Waverly and a chunky brush to kind of give me a faux wood grain. And it just kind of made the little stand look a lot better. And you definitely don't have to have the darker pieces. You could totally do the same thing with the lighter ones. I just never use the darker ones, so I thought I might as well use them because I have them. So I'm going to put hot glue here along my back stand and hot glue along my front stand. Then I'm going to sandwich my pumpkin in between. Kind of have to act quickly and squeeze it all together, making sure that like your pumpkin is standing right up. You kind of want it leaning back slightly because you don't want it to tip over. And you kind of have to hold it until it dries enough to set up. And then I also decided to add a little extra hot glue in the gaps on the bottom just to make it a little bit stronger. And that's it to our little Kirkland's Let's Get Cozy Pumpkin dupe. Again, I didn't get the plaid the same, but I think I got it pretty close. And I think it looks really cute for fall decor. Again, it reminds me of an old fuzzy flannel shirt that you'd wear in the fall or the winter. So I guess this could go from fall to winter, actually. And here was the original Happy Fall plaid wood pumpkin that I was trying to emulate from Kirkland's. And my Dollar Tree dupe. I think it's really cute. It was so easy to make. I love those little section pumpkins like that from the Dollar Tree. I'm always looking for ways to get creative in decorating those. And the little Jenga block stand worked perfectly. So our little Let's Get Cozy plaid pumpkin. We're going to use one of these small hurricane candle holders from the Dollar Tree. And I want to make a fun candle using the Dollar Tree acorns. I do want to paint them gold, but the first thing I need to do is kind of see how many I need to do. Now I have noticed that they do have different sizes. These are the larger ones, which I think are going to work great to fill up most of my candle holder. And then I can just set a Dollar Tree votive candle right in the middle and try to fill in the sides. Now that's when it got a little tight, so I do have some of the smaller ones from Dollar Tree too. And those fit a little bit better around the sides. If you had real acorns in your yard, you could totally do that as well. I just want to see exactly how many I need to get it good and full. And then I can take those outside and paint them. So we're going to spray paint those. You kind of sort them into small and large ones. And I got my metallic gold spray paint. I'm just going to leave them on this Dollar Tree cutting board, take them outside, paint them. They do move around, especially the little ones, when you paint them. So it kind of made it a little bit easier to paint both sides. And then again, we're going to do the larger ones here on the bottom of that candle holder. Sitting a little vanilla votive candle from Dollar Tree right in the middle. And then I can go back in with all of the small acorns and fill up all the sides. And look how pretty those acorns look painted metallic gold. I've never done that before, but I really am digging the vibe. I think it's so glam. And it was really easy to do. Just trying to make sure that I had one extra acorn, but I think that's all I'm going to be able to fit. And this is how it looks. Just gold acorns, a candle, and a Dollar Tree candle holder. And I think it turned out really pretty. Now you can see like not all of the caps painted gold, but I kind of like that look. You could always tape those off if you wanted to leave those natural, but it's going to, cause you a little bit more work for your DIY.
But I love the gold glam acorn candle holder. Really fun and festive for fall. Okay, the next DIY I'm going to craft with mushrooms. These are the Dollar Tree fall mushrooms. I have them in blue, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to cover the caps of them. I want to make some like velvet mushrooms, and we're going to make like a little mushroom garden using one of those baskets from the Dollar Tree. This is what we're going to cover them with. This is also new at Dollar Tree. And at least at my stores, it's like a velour fabric. And I thought that would be really cool to make them look like little velvety mushrooms, right? So I do want to kind of break them apart. So I just have the caps so that I can cover those with that beautiful fabric. I picked up that golden color and that maroon color. I thought those would look great for fall colors. And I'm being as careful as I can popping these off. They do break apart pretty well. They're glued on with like some kind of hot glue or something like that. And I'm going to leave the stems the way they are, but I'm going to cover the tops of them with this beautiful velour. Look how pretty that is. This is like that golden honey color. I'm going to use that for 2 of them. And we're going to make a little fall mushroom garden DIY with this. So trying to see about how much velour I'm going to need to cover the mushroom cap. And that looks pretty good. I just go ahead and fold it over so I can cut out a square. I am going to make 2 of them this honey color. If I could have found a third fall color, I would have done them all 3 different. But that's okay. We'll have 2 golden, and then we'll do 1 in this beautiful like wine color. It's so pretty. So just using this as a template, I'm going to go ahead and cut a square out for that as well. And we can get started covering these mushrooms in the velour. My son was so excited that I crafted with mushrooms. I had to show him. He was so excited. He's getting ready to go back to college in a couple of days. I sure am going to miss him. So I just take the 2 corners, hot gluing those to the bottom of the mushroom cap. I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. So this one's a little different than how we covered the pumpkin because we do the corners instead of the sides first. But we still end up with these little corners like this that need to be attached. And I just use some hot glue to glue those down as well. I'm going to be putting the mushroom stems back on there. It's going to cover up all of this crazy fabric going on the bottom of the mushroom cap so you won't be able to see them. And I've seen these in store for sale, like the velvety mushrooms, and I think they're so pretty, especially for fall. So I'm really glad Dollar Tree is getting some new fabrics like this in because I think this turned out really cool. So I've got like all of my sides glued down. It kept the shape pretty well. And now I just need to attach the stem back to it. It doesn't really matter. It fits in there pretty well. You don't really have to have it going a certain way. And I kind of like them to be a little bit crooked, but I use hot glue to attach it back to it. The foam doesn't really like the hot glue, but I'm going to make it work. So we have one little velour, I guess, mushroom cap. Now this one I did a different way. I did the sides first. I don't know why I switched it up. Maybe I didn't remember how I did the first one. Probably. I don't know which way is better. It's kind of the same steps. You just do all 4 sides and then do the corners. You want to make sure that you cover all of your sides and anything visible. If you're a little short when you do these corner pieces, it seems to cover everything up. You don't want to be able to see any of that color shining through. And they have these like in red, brown, yellow, and blue, I think, the little Dollar Tree mushrooms. I've crafted with them in the past. I always think they're so fun. So we have another little velvet pumpkin done, and I just go ahead and glue the mushroom cap on there. One more to make. We're going to make this beautiful like wine color of red. It's so pretty. And I kind of did the same strategy on that one. I did the sides first. I don't know. Looking at it now, I think the corners first might work better. But this seems to work too. So just take your time and let the hot glue start to set up against the foam before you kind of pull away. Because again, the foam doesn't really appreciate the hot glue. It likes to melt. And I use some more hot glue to attach this one as well. I want to make them into like little mushroom picks that I can then stick down into the foam. So I just take some toothpicks and put them in the bottom of the mushrooms like that. But you can see how beautiful that velour fabric looks on them. And I went ahead and did that with all 3 of them. Now we can start on the garden. I picked up one of these baskets. This is from the Shore Living line, but they have these in their regular aisle too. This one's square though. The ones I found in the regular aisle were round. Doesn't really matter. I liked the size and the color of this one. And then I picked up a foam piece, a circle from the Dollar Tree for the base. We're going to cover it and make it look like the forest floor. So I'm going to use a combination of reindeer moss and Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. And I was saying in one of my recent videos, I am having a lot of trouble finding these. Luckily, I had some saved from previous DIYs, but my stores have only been getting that brown floral moss in, and it's really annoying. I thought about ordering some online, but they want me to order 36, and then what if it's gross, you know? It would take me a while to go through 36, but I do love crafting with this stuff. Some of you guys said that you can get it at Walmart as well, so might have to check there if I need more. But I use a combination, so I get like that brownish, greenish forest floor vibe. I'm going to have this one be the shortest mushroom in front, and I'm using those toothpicks to just put it down inside the foam. That way it'll stay in place. I do want this one to be the shortest, so I just broke the toothpick in half and put it in there. So that one's going to be the lowest. The red one can be like kind of medium, and then this one's going to be like the highest mushroom in the back. Since they're all the same size, if I could give them a little bit of difference in height, that would be good. And I thought I could kind of build up the back of the bottom a little bit. So I just used one piece of the floral foam. I cut a little wedge that I can put underneath this moss to lift this up a little bit. Now, my inspiration for this little fall mushroom garden was an exhibit they had at the Bellagio, like back in 2021 maybe, when I visited. And it had like a forest floor with like foxes, mushroom, rocks and stuff like that. So I'm using that for inspiration. I used wood stems for sticks, some of the Dollar Tree rocks for little stones to build out the forest floor. Trying to get like the roughest ones I could find in there. And then I'm going to put a little pumpkin in there. That exhibit had pumpkins as well. And I just use a little pumpkin that I have from the Target dollar spot just because it's so cute. And I'm going to use a toothpick for it as well. I broke that in half to make it a little shorter so everything will stay in place. The sticks are just kind of sit in there a little bit, as are the stones. And then I just make sure that it has plenty of moss in there. And our little mushroom garden is complete. I love it. I think it turned out so cute. As you can see, they're so soft, our little velour mushrooms. And they look really fun in that exhibit. It's a really fun idea to decorate with mushrooms for fall, especially if you're going for like a woodland look like this. But I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this one? You'll have to let me know in the comments below.
Now for this DIY, I picked up a candlestick from the Dollar Tree. It has a great shape. And then I picked up a leaf tray from Goodwill. It was only 99 cents. And I thought we could put the 2 pieces together and make a really beautiful little gold leaf tray that we can use for a candle holder. So I just took the tag off of this. Otherwise, I think it's good and ready for painting. I am going to go ahead and glue the glass candlestick to the bottom as a base. I really like the shape of that candlestick. And to do that, I'm going to use some of this multi-purpose cement from the Dollar Tree. It's kind of like an E6000. And it says it does glass and ceramic, so we shall see. The only problem with using this kind of glue, it is going to make it stronger long term, but you do have to wait. It's going to have some drying time before it's going to set up. I just put glue on the top of the candlestick and then lay that on the bottom of the little leaf tray. I could have always painted the pieces separately, but I decided to glue it together first and try to let that set up. Now I'm going to use this gold metallic spray paint again. We're going to spray paint everything. The top, the bottom of the leaf, the candlestick, everything. So once I get that dry enough to like hold, I'm going to take that outside and give it a nice spray paint, and look how beautiful that Goodwill dish looks now with the gold. It really takes it up a notch, and I love how it turned out. I was trying to do all the spray painting outside, and it was so like rainy and humidity, but I was actually had pretty good results. Now for the candles, I found these great tea light candles at Dollar Tree. The colors are really beautiful for fall. We've got yellow, orange, and brown, and they're shaped like little oak leaves. I think these are going to be perfect. I'm going to use all 3 of these little tea lights, just kind of scattering them around our little leaf tray. Kind of like that. And I'm blown away with how beautiful that tray looks gold. And then again, some of the Dollar Tree acorns. This time I'm not going to paint them gold because otherwise they would just kind of blend in with the little leaf. But I'm just going to kind of scatter those all around the little leaf tray as filler. I didn't want to do anything flammable so that I could light these candles. And just arranging them to get them the way that I like them. I didn't want to use any sand or anything in there because I wanted you to be able to see the great veins in that leaf dish. I think it's so pretty, and this is how it turned out. I think that shape for the candlestick is perfect to use to make a little tray like this. The shape is so seamless. It really looks like a tray.
And I've seen a lot of great ceramic trays like this at Dollar Tree this year in their fall section that you could probably recreate this DIY with.
Okay, the next DIY, we're going to do like some more lamb's ear, some of the little acorn picks from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a fun little fall floral arrangement using a Dollar Tree vase and some burlap. For the burlap, I'm going to use one of these little burlap craft bags they have from Dollar Tree. And I've already used this one for another DIY, so I still have one side of the bag that's going to be great to craft with. And this has the plastic coating on the back, makes it super easy to cut, no fraying or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut the handle off just so I can keep that nice seamed edge to use along the top of my vase. And I want to cover that Dollar Tree vase with the burlap. So super easy. I'm just going to cut more of a straight line over here, kind of see how much fabric we need to cover it, cutting it down to size. Then I also need to cut it to the proper length. And I just use the vase for reference. So easy to attach it. I'm just going to hot glue on the inside of the burlap bag onto that plastic. It is plastic, but if you work quickly, you can definitely hot glue it. It's not going to melt or anything like that. Glue that to the side of the vase, and we're just going to simply wrap this around to give us a cute little burlap vase. And then I kind of wanted to decorate that a little bit more, and I thought it would be really fun to wrap one of those little leather fall ornaments around it to give it a little bit more character. Now, I find that these leather items from the Dollar Tree are really kind of tricky to hot glue. And so I'm going to actually leave the little leather strap on it, doing the little grateful leaf, wrapping that around our little burlap vase, trying to make sure that my strap is sitting with like the brown leather side up. I like the contrast of that like chocolatey brown leather against the burlap. I think that looks cute. And I'll just hot glue the little knot here to the top of the vase on the back, right there along the seam, letting the little leaf come down here in the front. So I'm just going to hot glue it in a couple places just to kind of keep it in line, but otherwise it's kind of hanging. I'm not going to wrap it around the shape of it. I'm just going to leave it flat like this, and hopefully that will stay on there well. So there's the burlap vase, and now it's ready for some greenery. Now for the flowers, I'm using these. These are the summer sunflowers, so they're not fall, but I like the white flowers with the dark brown middles, so we're just going to make this work. So what I'm going to do that is I'm just going to remove all that bright greenery off of each one, putting the flowers right back on. That way it's going to make it look a little bit more like fall. And then I'm going to use that right here in the vase. The next item is super cute. I think these are new this year from Dollar Tree. the little wooled acorns. So cute. I love the colors. They're super soft and fuzzy. And I think this is a great deal for $1.25. It's going to go great with those flowers. And I just kind of push that little acorn pick right down inside, kind of working it in between all of the white flowers. Now I want to keep my lamb's ear theme that we've been using today. And so I'm going to use a couple pieces of the Dollar Tree lamb's ear to replace the greenery that we took off of those flowers. I'm just going to put those along the side. I'm going to do a total of 3. And these are just from Dollar Tree that I've already cut apart. And this is how it turned out. I think it's really cute. It really goes with the lamb's ear and the burlap and a lot of the neutral colors that we've been using for the fall DIYs today. Super cute, super easy, and look how adorable those acorns are. I really love those. I might have to pick up some more of those and actually remove them from the pick. That might be great to use as a vase filler or bowl filler or something like that. That would be really cute. And I love those little leather fall tags. Adorable. And this is how it turned out. Okay, check out this cute little planter that I found at Dollar Tree. It's a little squirrel named Skip. So I thought that would be really cute to do a little fall squirrel candle. Isn't he adorable? The only thing I noticed is that his painting was not great, so I will have to touch him up a little bit. He also has that space inside the squirrel body because I wanted to make this into a candle and I don't really want to fill that whole thing up with wax. So again, I'm going to use one of these little candle holders from the Dollar Tree. It fits in there perfectly. And then we can use some apple cinnamon fragrance oil for this one. That's a nice fall scent. Again, I couldn't find any pumpkin scents at my Dollar Tree, so I had to kind of work with what I could find. And then again, I'm using one of the long white candles from the Dollar Tree. It's not going to require the whole thing, but we can always use it on our next candles. So boiling those, we're going to go ahead and set up this candle. Just putting the double-sided tape. It's a little circle there right in the middle, and a wick and a popsicle stick for this one. Now, if you didn't want to create your own scented fall candle for this one, you could always use a little tea light candle in there. That would be perfect. Or if you didn't want to use the candle holder part at all, you could just put a votive in there. I think that'd be really cute too. I just love the squirrel. He's painted well, except for the little white part. So I decided while my candle was melting, I'll just go ahead and touch him up a little bit. And I just have it in an old pot on my stove, boiling water until it melts. And you do have to have a little patience. It does take a while to melt that much wax, but it's a fun, inexpensive way to make your own candles using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So here it is. It's all melted. I'm going to go ahead and scent it before I pour it in here. So again, this was our apple cinnamon fragrance oil. It's from the Dollar Tree. The difference is this one has a little dropper lid. So you do have to kind of count drops. So I'm going to put 20 drops in there and stir it. See if it smells good. You can add as much or little as scent as you want. You can also use essential oils if you have them. I just used fragrance oils because they are readily available from my Dollar Tree. So I thought it needed a little bit more scent. Now we're ready to pour it in. Make sure you use pot holders because these things are hot. And I'm just going to fill up my candle holder almost all the way full and then let it sit. It turned into this beautiful white scented candle. I'm just going to trim my wick on this one and pop it right in our little squirrel. I love these little planters. I've never thought about making one into a candle before, but I think it's perfect for that. And wouldn't this look cute on a fall tier tray or something like that? I think he's adorable. So here's Skip the squirrel. And I think that is just a fun idea. He's holding an acorn, so he is ready for fall. They have a lot of woodland creatures right now at Dollar Tree, like little squirrels, I think hedgehogs. I picked up some of them. I do plan to be doing a DIY with some of those creatures. I did a tier tray last year that was so cute. So let's light this little scented candle, see how he looks.
Okay, the next DIY, I picked up 3 of these fall florals. They're called Silver Dollars, and I think they're a very nice neutral color. And as you can see, they're really big. I thought these would make a really fun swag for your door or your wall using some of the Dollar Tree acorns. So what I want to do is bundle the 3 of them together. I kind of want all the leaves to be like face up. That's going to look a little bit better, and have one centered in the middle of the other 2. Now, I thought I needed a little variety in my greenery, and so I'm also using the willow from the fall section this year, and I chose this like light neutral color as well. It kind of coordinates really well with the silver dollars, and I'm going to use 2 of those, having those go down too. I want to gather them all together, have it like a swag that hangs down just like that. Now, this is an acorn pick that I picked up at Dollar Tree as well, and I thought this would be perfect. I'm going to leave it all attached, and I can have some acorns on my fall swag. I did notice one of mine was not on there very well, so I'm just going to do a little repair job by putting some hot glue on there and gluing it on, because this is going to be hanging like this, and I want to make sure that everything stays put. I'm going to have it like right here on the front of our swag, and this was such an easy swag to put together. To gather it, I just take a zip tie right here where they all come together. And then for stability, I'm going to add a second one as well, just up about 1 inch or so, and cut off my remaining. Now, as you can see, the silver dollars have longer stems. So I'm going to go ahead and use my wire cutters and just trim those off so they're all about the same length. Now for the bow, I wanted to be easy, so I'm just going to use a Dollar Tree bow. I thought the colors were perfect. It's burlap, brown, and orange. I thought about using the burlap. I end up not using that. And then some of the mesh ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I love this, and in this like kind of ivory color, I think it goes well with it. So I just cut a long piece like this. And about halfway up, I'm going to cut a little slit here where I can just go ahead and physically put it on the swag, having it come down like both sides just like that. And I think that looks pretty good. I just wanted just another texture. That's one reason why I did it. Now for the hanger, I just take some twine and tie it between my zip ties, then tie a loop on it, forming a hanger for my swag. Now the Dollar Tree bow has like a bread tie on it, so I just go ahead and use that to wire that to the top of the swag. A little bit of arranging. Those Dollar Tree bows can be really cute if you don't want to make one. And I think the colors are just perfect for this little acorn swag. I told you it was going to be easy. You could hang this on your door for fall or your wall. I haven't decided. Probably on my wall. But this is how mine turned out. My cute little acorn swag. I think it's really fun for like the woodland theme that we're doing today. And how pretty are those silver dollars? I just keep getting so impressed by the selection of greenery at Dollar Tree. The fall stuff is beautiful.
Now check out this cute little squirrel sign I got at the Dollar Tree today. I've never seen that before. It was in the fall section. I picked up that and one of the acorn signs. Now this one's already got glitter and an image on it. I'm just going to cover all of that up with some cheap contact paper from the Dollar Tree. You could get the plain acorn that's just plain raw wood. It is a little bit smaller than this one though. That's why I chose this one, but it doesn't matter. Because again, I'm just going to cover all that up by sticking that contact paper to the back. And then I'm going to go in with a sanding sponge from Dollar Tree to trim that down to size. Now it was a little tricky because it was kind of big. And I had to go around like the acorn cap and stuff like that. But I'm just going to kind of take it one section at a time, cutting that down to size. And that's just going to give us a finished back to our DIY, make everything look good, and seal up any glitter and stuff that's on the back of that. I wanted to do a really easy like burlap neutral color acorn sign, and then I thought we could attach that really cute little squirrel that I got at the Dollar Tree today. They also had a hedgehog. I'd never seen either one of them. Absolutely adorable. So that looks pretty good. I just kind of have to clean up the sides a little bit, and then we can decorate the back of this acorn. You can kind of see how large this one is. It's pretty tall. And what I want to do is cover it with white burlap. So this is also from the Dollar Tree. I have a scrap piece of the white burlap, and I'm going to go ahead and again, just give that a quick iron. It's going to make it easier to work with. And we're going to start by covering the entire acorn with the white burlap, and then we'll add to it. You can kind of see what I'm going to use for the top of the acorn. I'm going to be using those burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree. So I went and grabbed like every package I own because I thought I might need a few. Now I'm just going to Mod Podge down the burlap by doing a coat all over the acorn and smoothing the fabric on. I didn't feel like I probably got enough Mod Podge on there to keep this secure. I don't want it going anywhere because we're going to be attaching the squirrel to the front and it's going to be a hanging sign. So I just go in from the front doing another coat of Mod Podge all over, especially making sure I get all of the edges again so that I can trim that burlap down without any fraying. So I'm going to kind of sit this aside and let it dry a little bit before I trim that down. But in the meantime, we can start working on our cute little squirrel. He really doesn't need anything. I just wanted to kind of tone down his colors a little bit because he's not very neutral fall. He's got a really cool little hanger on him, but I don't really need that. So I'm just going to unscrew that from the top of the cute little squirrel head. And then I'm going to whitewash this to try to tone it down. So I just took a dry paper towel and a little dot of ivory paint, and I'm just distressing. It's just a quick, easy way to distress. Just working in one direction until I tone down all of the colors and kind of make him look a little bit older than he did before. And just like with any distressing, you can kind of work with it until you're happy with it. I think that looks pretty even. And then I'm also going to sand him down a little bit too, just to kind of roughen him up. It's just a way you can take one of those signs from the Dollar Tree that has like the glossy paper on it, make it look a little bit more high end. So I'm just going to finish drying the acorn, and then we can just go around and trim the burlap down to size. I'm going to do the same thing we did earlier, just using my sharp fabric scissors and cutting as close to the side of the acorn as I can. Now for the nut part of the acorn, it's going to be this ivory burlap color. I thought that would be a fun contrast against like the tan burlap that we've been using a lot today. So pretty easy to trim down. The only tricky parts were like around the little stem of the acorn and a little bit on the cap. If you flip it over though, it's pretty obvious any areas that you might need to trim up a little bit. And as you can see, no fraying at all. That Mod Podge really is the trick to that. I left the hanger on there just to kind of save a step. And then we need to do the cap part of the acorn. So again, I'm going to use the tan burlap leaves. They come in two different sizes, these little burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree. These are the large ones. They also have small ones. And I'm going to use a combination of both to cover up the acorn cap. But I start with the large ones for the bottom here. And what I'm going to do is kind of like make it arch up a little bit, like the cap arches a little bit. Not a lot, but I'm going up a little bit each one. And that is going to be the bottom row for the acorn cap. And if you get any hot glue coming through, you can always clean that up with a heat gun pretty easily. I'm going to switch up to some smaller ones, but I'm going to kind of move back and forth between smaller ones and larger ones, just whatever I'm going to need to kind of fill up any space here. And as you can see, I'm kind of going in the gap on the one lower and layering those on top, so it kind of looks like the scales on the top of an acorn. And I really love how this turned out. It was so easy, and the squirrel is going to make it look so cute. So just kind of sorting these out again, and then I'm switching. I'm still using some smaller ones, but I do go in and use some larger ones here in a minute, just because I kind of had a bigger area to fill. And I do that all the way up to the top of the stem, covering that with one as well. And I think it looks really cute. I'm going to go ahead and attach the little squirrel here right to the front. I think he looks a little bit better distressed. It's going to go with my color scheme a little bit better. And I'm just going to hot glue him to the back. He does have a big label here on the back, so I'm going to try to get most of that out of the way so that I can glue him tightly to the burlap sign. A little hot glue all over. Now I do need to kind of touch up the top of the acorn a little bit just to kind of even it out, kind of make the cap a little bit more even and fill up any of the areas where like the white burlap might be showing through. So he is nice and secure. And then I'm just going to trim it up. And then I have like an extra one of those little burlap leaves that I can kind of cut down to fill up any of the holes there. The left side seemed to have a little bit better coverage than the right side, but I just cut some little triangular pieces out of that just to kind of mask that. Any of the little areas that might be showing through. And that's the last step in this DIY. It's so easy to put together. I think using the little burlap leaves is a fun idea for the top of the acorn. I'm always looking for something fun to do with that. And I love a good acorn DIY. It's something a little bit different than the pumpkin that you might see everywhere. So this is how he turned out. So cute. I love the little squirrel. And he is super happy to be on a little acorn sign. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to take one of these little Dollar Tree signs and we are going to transform this into a really fun gold bling tray for fall. I love gathering fall items together on a tray. Now for the sides, we're going to use some of the metal ribbon from Dollar Tree. I wanted something flexible, but something that I could paint gold and make it look really beautiful. And so I think this is going to be the perfect thing. Now they have this in like several different styles. I kind of chose this one because I wanted it to be as tall as I could get it for the sides. And I'm going to be really careful, try not to kink it, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go just follow along inside the frame of the round sign, leaving that ledge on the outside. And so I just need enough of the metal ribbon to go all the way around with a slight overlap so I can kind of attach that to itself. So I'm just going to cut that down with some heavy duty scissors. It's not too hard to cut. And then kind of measure how big I'm going to need it. And then I want to paint it with this gold spray paint. And I want to kind of attach it first. So I'm going to see how big I need it to be. And I did hot glue to attach it. I knew that wasn't going to hold up that well because metal just does not glue great with hot glue, but I thought it would work. You'll see I have to go back with a little bit stronger glue on this. But I got the right shape anyway. And then I can take this outside and give it a quick spray paint with that gold spray paint. I'm going to paint it on the outside and the inside of it. And I think this is going to be a really great side for the tray. This is really easy to paint. It took just one coat of the gold spray paint. But when I tried to dry that with my heat gun, that's when the hot glue decided to give up on me. So we're going to switch it up. We're going to use a stronger glue. I was reading that super glue does work well for metal to metal. So I have some of these little single-use super glues from the Dollar Tree. Very convenient because you can just throw them away when you're done with them. And I'm just going to go ahead and screw the applicator on there. These are pretty easy to use. Try not to get it all over yourself like I did. I did do a little tiny bit of hot glue just to try to give it a quick hold at first. And then squeeze that together. You might want to wear gloves for this part because I did get super glue all over my fingers. And the trick to getting that off is acetone. So I always have some fingernail polish remover on my work desk. Anyway, so I had to go clean my hands there. And then we can just sit our little gold metal ribbon right inside the frame. I think it's going to fit nicely. And we made it just the perfect size. Now I just have to find a way to attach it to the tray so it's kind of like all one piece. And so I'm going to use that super glue again, going around the border. I do most of it in super glue, and then I do go back in with a little hot glue to try to give it like a little bit of a temporary hold, trying not to mix those two different kinds of glue together. And then I just set the metal ribbon right inside the frame, gluing that into place. It doesn't have to be super strong. It's kind of more for decoration, the sides on this. But I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and leave the wood bottom on the tray. I think that looks really pretty. And then for the feet of the tray, we're going to use some of these little wooden Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. They are starting to get their Christmas stuff out, thank goodness. And I'm gonna just make little feet for these. These make perfect legs for a tray if you turn them upside down. At first I thought 4, and then I started lining them up and realizing that my tray was a pretty good sized tray. So I'm going to add one more. We're going to do 5 legs. And I try to just kind of like evenly space those out going around the circle as well as I can. I'm not measuring them or anything like that. I thought about painting the little feet gold. I ended up not doing it, but that would totally be another gold glam option. I'm just going to attach all 5 little feet with just a little dot of hot glue. This should hold up well, unlike gluing the metal to the metal. I knew better with the hot glue. And we have 5 little feet for our tray. This one, I had to move it a little bit, so I had to kind of update the hot glue on that one, but we can flip it over and you can see how pretty this looks so far. Now, one thing that I didn't like, I didn't really mind the white frame, but I didn't like the outside. See how it's not painted great around the edges of the frame? So we're going to go ahead and go in and paint the sides and the frame with some gold acrylic paint. This is just some gold acrylic paint. It's like metallic paint that I got at the Target dollar spot. I've also picked this up before at Dollar General. It's pretty easy to find. I prefer using spray paint for any of the gold metallics, but this is good for when you really can't get in there with spray paint. So I'm just going to first go around the edges. The only thing I don't like about the metallic gold acrylic paint is that you do have to go over it 2 to 3 times to get like that really good sheen that you're going for when you paint things gold. So keep that in mind. So we just painted all the edges, and then I thought I might as well just paint the frame too. That way it will all blend in with like the gold sides of our tray. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to use a small brush and go around all the edges. And this really did give it like a lot of bling, a lot of shine. We're going to do some DIYs and some fun things to decorate this little tray. But I think a tray is fun for fall because I always like to incorporate like a fall candle and stuff like that. And it's really fun to group some smaller items together to make like a larger piece. So you can see I did have to go over that with a second coat around the edges because you could kind of still see through that. So I went around that and the frame itself with another coat of that metallic gold. And this is how it turned out. Super bling, very pretty. Loving the glam look. And I really love making a little tray out of these little signs. I love trying to find different purposes for these little signs from the Dollar Tree. They come in like all different shapes and sizes. And this circle one I think is perfect for a little fall tray. And I'm going to show you how we're going to decorate this today with some quick, easy Dollar Tree DIYs. The first one being a really fun metallic gold bling leaf. So we're going to use one of these little metal leaves from the Dollar Tree. It does have a hanger on it, which I don't really need. I'm going to combine that together with that little metal stand that you see there with the circle on it that says welcome to our home to make a display. But first, we're going to cover the leaf with this great peel and stick tile that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's got lots of metallic, it's got the gold bling pattern on there, and I think that's going to look really pretty on the leaf. So I just lay our little galvanized metal leaf on the back, and just using an ink pen, I'm going to draw that on. Whenever I do like an intricate pattern like this with any of the peel and stick items from the Dollar Tree, I find it a little bit easier to cut these intricate designs out first and then just line it up to whatever I'm covering. Now, since the galvanized metal leaf had holes in it, I'm covering it up with the tile, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to cover that all up. It's just a matter of cutting this down to size. And using that drawing on the back, we're just going to go around and cut the shape out. This DIY was really easy to do, and it really turned out really well. It really helped set the mood for some of the gold DIYs we're going to do today. I tried to find all different ways that we could incorporate gold into fall decor and at the same time try to keep it neutral. I know I really appreciate the neutral fall color scheme, and I know a lot of you do as well. Kind of avoiding the bold colors like the oranges, the reds, and the yellows, and kind of doing more, cozy neutral colors. So we've about got this one cut out. Kind of took my time on that one because I wanted to get that cut down right perfect to size. And you can see how cool this tile is. It's so pretty. And it's just a peel and stick. So this is going to be so easy to attach to the galvanized metal leaf. I always buy those galvanized metal pieces and then a lot of times I don't know what to do with them. I don't know if you guys have the same problem. So I'm just going to peel this, line it up, which is actually easier than I thought it would be, and then just stick it on. It's just like a giant sticker. Now I want to display this, and that is why I have that little welcome to our home sign. I love those little signs because they make great display pieces for items like this, and we can display this on that great fall tray that we just made. Now, again, I know though, metal on metal, it's not going to do well. So I'm going to try a different method. This is the Dollar Tree Super Glue Epoxy. I was reading on ChatGPT about like what was best for metal to metal because sometimes these things fall apart on me then when I do the metal to metal with hot glue. So I was really trying to avoid that. So I had to read the directions on this. It is like a 2-part epoxy. You just have to mix the 2 different parts together. So I'm just going to do that in the packaging that came with it and stir that up. I used a paintbrush. I didn't know if that was really a good thing to apply it with, but it worked. And then I'm just applying that all over the little metal sign. That's going to just fit perfectly behind that leaf. You won't even be able to see it's there. But I also did a little hot glue too to keep it in place temporarily while that epoxy sets up. So I just push that onto the back, making sure I have really good contact with the epoxy. And I love trying the different glues from the Dollar Tree. They do have some really great things in their hardware section. So this is what it looks like so far. I was thinking that it needed like one more thing. And so I was like, I didn't know what to add to it. But then I decided ribbon, it needed a bow. And I do have some of this fall ribbon from the Dollar Tree that is a burlap with a gold tinted border. And so I think this is going to be perfect. So I just tie a knot in it, and then we're just going to tie a very simple, cute little bow here, making sure that all of my edges, all my gold edges are visible, twisting and turning and rearranging the little bow as needed. Sometimes you can tie them and they're like perfect and ready to go, and sometimes they want to fight you a little bit. This one wanted to fight me a little bit, but I won. So I think that looks pretty good with the bow part like that. I just have to cut my little tails down to size. And I think that's the perfect final touch to this fall leaf display. We're just going to hot glue it right here to the bottom of the leaf. And this is ready to go for that great tray that we just DIY'd. And I love those tiles. I think that's the first time I've ever crafted with that kind of tile, but I would definitely will again because it's so pretty and I didn't have to paint it or anything. See that gold sheen? It's so pretty. It was a little harder to capture that like with a straight on picture like this, but you can kind of see it there coming up off the bottom a little bit. And the little ribbon, I think, is super sweet as well. I used the white one, so it kind of has like the white stem. They have those in white and black. I always try to pick them up. I use the white one a little bit more than the black one. And we can just stand this on the top of our little fall tray. Nice and tall for the back piece there. Now to further decorate the tray, I picked up one of these little gold, super shiny. It's so shiny, it was kind of hard to show you. Pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. And it is perfect. I don't have to do anything to it. I think this is going to look really great here on the front of our little gold tray. And then I also found this candle holder at the Dollar Tree. It is so beautiful. It's like gold with like little gold leaves inside to make those great little shadows like that when you light it up. So we're just going to pop in a Dollar Tree votive candle to the top. And I love fall candles. I always try to incorporate those into all my DIYs. So this is how it turned out. It's super easy. And this is going to look great on this tray as well. And then I thought maybe a pine cone, and I thought we could do something special to kind of make it look golden glam. We're going to make it look like it is gilded. So again, I'm using that metallic gold acrylic paint and a tiny brush. And we're just going around and just painting the tips of the scales gold to make it look like it is gilded with like gold. I didn't do any of the gilding today. I used paint for everything, but I got like a similar effect, and this was probably easier. So that is how it looks. I think that's the perfect amount of gold. And we can just use this to finish off our little fall tray right here in front with another little touch of bling for fall. And I'm loving the glam look. I hope you are too. Let me give you a little look around our tray. Super cute. If you wanted to use a little bit more filler in there on yours, I'm sure that would look beautiful as well. But I really love how it turned out and how these pieces all came together. Whenever I have small pieces like this and I don't really have a tier tray to use them on, I do try to gather them together on a tray. I think it looks so pretty. You can put this in any room of your home, honestly, because it's nice and small. And this is how it looks with a little cozy candle lit up. The next item is from the Target Dollar Spot. Check out this cool tray I got there just the other day in their Halloween section. It's $5. And I don't really think it's Halloween. I think it's more fall. It's plastic. It's very lightweight, but look how it looks just like a tree stump. It's not shiny or anything like you would normally see from plastic. It's got this beautiful texture all over, and I thought this would make a really cute little fall tray using some woodland animals. So let me show you how I decorated mine. I'm going to use this little round metal sign from Dollar Tree. I love the base on that, and then some of these little rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree fall section as well. Now, I'm just going to go over the flat part of the sign there with some ivory chalk paint. I chose chalk paint just because it would be a little bit thicker because I have a lot of black writing I need to cover up on there. And it still took like 3 or 4 coats so that you couldn't read that. But I just do a thin coat at a time, drying in between, and then we can go ahead and add those rub-on transfers. I'm going to combine several of those together to do a really cute little fall sign for the tray, something that stands up that you can read. It's not a super large tray, so it's not going to take a whole lot to decorate this. Aren't these images like so cute? I chose Hello Autumn. I thought that would be really cute on there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that down and scrape that on. Now, the chalk paint did kind of give me a dry surface, so I found that I did have to scrape kind of more than I usually have to with these, but always test before you pull it up all the way to make sure it's down, because you can just lay it back down and continue scraping it. I thought this image was really nice, but it doesn't really fit with the round shape, but that's okay. You can always cut these down exactly to what part you need. And I'm just going to do that, maybe a few fall leaves just to kind of fill in like the little circular pattern to go all the way around the circle. And we're going to have a little custom fall sign for this. It's just a matter of scraping these all on and peeling off the plastic. Now, this sign does have like a little flat base, and so I want to decorate that too with some fall items, and we're going to be doing lots of woodland animals on the little tree stump tray. So I thought acorns would be perfect for that. So we're going to use Dollar Tree acorns. And these are the ones that are already the right color and everything. And I got a new Ryobi glue gun to replace the one that was not working properly. So this is my first test of this. Amazon did replace it, which is great. Thank you, Amazon. I have not put it in my shop below. I do not think, because I want to see if this one works better than the last one, because my other one, the little hot glue sticks were melting inside and getting stuck. And I never had that problem with my larger one, so I want to try it out for you before I recommend it. Now I use a little bit of floral moss combined with the acorns to decorate the base of this, and we can put this on the back here of our little tree stump. So cute. Now to decorate it, Dollar Tree has these great woodland animals, including this adorable little squirrel. He's perfect. He's holding a little acorn and he's painted very nice. He's got lots of texture. He's even smiling. So we're going to place him right here in front of our tree stump. To go with him, I also found a raccoon at Dollar Tree. He's holding a little pine cone. I love the painting and the detail on him. He's so cute. They had these last year at Dollar Tree too. I'm in love with them. I think they're just so adorable. I thought the pine cone was a little dark and could be painted a little better, so I just went over mine with this teddy bear color of paint just to lighten it up a little bit. You might want to do a little bit darker than that, but a pine cone shouldn't be super dark. So I thought that made it look a little bit better, and it wasn't painted so nicely. We're going to put the little raccoon here on the other side of our little squirrel. And then I also got a Dollar Tree fox. Look how cute he is. He has a little mushroom, and I think he's perfect. I don't think there's enough for him to put him on the tray, because the tray, again, is not large, but I thought it'd be really cute to put it like next to the tray, like next to the tree, and kind of get the same fun effect. Then I just need very little filler to fill it up. So I'm going to use some of these like orange leaves from the Dollar Tree just to kind of fill up any spaces that aren't filled up. And that's going to give me a little touch of fall here. And this was just a quick, easy Dollar Tree and Dollar Spot tray for fall. Look how much fall goodness you get there. And this was so easy to do because most of the items were ready to go and inexpensive as well. So you can't beat that, right?
Now, I did get this tree stump display at Target Dollar Spot last year. I have seen them multiple times, though, so hopefully they bring them back again this year. I know they're always popular, but combining them with the Dollar Tree creatures like that is really a fun way to display them.
Now they have a couple of these like little felt owls at Dollar Tree right now. This one's a little bit smaller. It's like a little owl kit. You could probably do it with the larger one too. I don't really need any of the little pieces that came with it because I think they're all kind of cartoonish, and I want to make like a really cool owl wall hanging, but I want it to look more high end with like burlap and stuff like that. And these bright colors and the felt and stuff like that just doesn't look that way. So I am going to use the little owl part though as a template. I do kind of have to cut off the little feathers for the part of the owl here that doesn't really go. And that is going to be the back of our wall hanging. I want to do like a really fun like burlap owl wall hanging, kind of a plushy kind of thing. And for the burlap, I'm going to use one of these little burlap bags from the Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these. It's like a synthetic burlap, so it doesn't fray. Super easy to cut. It's like coated with like a light plastic there on the back. And it works great for crafting. It's not quite big enough to cover the entire owl, so I'm going to do it in 2 pieces. I'm going to go from like the neck down here, and I'm just tracing this out with a Sharpie on the back of our burlap bag. Then I'm just going to go in and cut that out. Now, I cut it out a little smaller Then I actually wrote on there so that I could have a little bit of a felt border around the edges. And that's just how I'm going to put it together later. I kind of thought that would be necessary. So I have a little bit of a felt edge there. So I'm going to use the other side of the burlap bag here to cut out a little owl head. I do go around the little ear tufts there on the owl, but I end up actually not cutting that part out. I tried, but I couldn't really get it to line up very well. And I had a different idea for the little ear tufts anyway, but I went ahead and cut them out initially. So that is going to be like the burlap front of our little wall hanging. And this is going to be kind of like a plushie. I'm going to use it as a wall hanging, but I suppose you could kind of sit it up against something and kind of just use it as a small pillow or a plushie. I think my son is going to actually want this because this is his mascot. Owls are his mascot for college, and he's been asking for a DIY. So I can see him wanting this one because it turned out so cute. So I am just going to start hot gluing the burlap to the front of our brown felt. The felt is kind of like our template, kind of the back. It's not that pretty. So that's just going to be the back of our little owl. And then we're going to go ahead and cover the top. Have a little bit more of an overlap here than I really need. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just hot glue this part on. I did glue it shut there at the bottom, kind of forgetting that I was going to stuff it. So I do open that back up here in a little bit to put a little bit of pillow fluff in there. Now, this was my idea for the little ear tufts, was to make just a little tassel. So I just take some Dollar Tree twine, wrap it around 3 fingers, then just tie that off just so I'll have like, a little fringy little ear tuft here for this owl. And I'm just going to glue that on there, sticking like straight up. And I am going to go in and cut like the knot off of the little tassel. I just really wanted the fringe of the twine for the little ear tuft to make it look nice and fluffy. I don't know at this point that you can even really tell this is an owl because the shape doesn't really look that much like an owl to me. But in the end, it turns out really cute. So I just go ahead and make a little tiny tassel here for the other side, trying to make it about the same size, hot gluing that on to the little felt ear tuft there. And then just trimming off the knot, I can like flip it over. I can trim that down a little bit because it's a little bit wild at this point. I'm just going to shorten it a little bit. Doesn't need to be quite that crazy. But I do want it longer than the little ear tufts behind it so you can't really see it. Now, these are wood craft rings from the Dollar Tree. These are the larger ones that come in a 2-pack, and I thought they'd make really fun owl eyes. Now, my camera died, but all I did was take an ink pen and trace around the inside of the little wood ring so we know where to paint the eyes. I didn't really want to order eyes or anything for this, so I thought we could paint this and get a really fun effect. So I didn't really want like a stark white on this. So I'm just going in with like an ivory acrylic paint and trying my best to paint a little circle that will be kind of underneath the little wood rings. And then I'm also going to do like a little owl eye on there once I get it painted ivory. That's just going to be like the white part of the eye. Now for the little wood rings, I thought they would look really good stained. So I'm just going to use some Antique Wax by Waverly. I'm going to go all over the front and the back, wiping off the excess stain with a paper towel. Just because it's kind of 3D, you might be able to see a little bit of the back, the way they're going to stick on there. And I think this is going to give our owl these big owl eyes that owls are so famous for, right? Now, this is when I remembered that I probably shouldn't have sealed that shut. So I just used my heat gun just to kind of open up my hot glue right there. And then I'm going to use this Harvest Gold acrylic paint here just to paint some nice yellow owl eyes. I just kind of do a circular shape, trying to keep them kind of even, maybe looking off to the side a little bit. And then once that's dry, I go in first with a Sharpie to try to like outline the eye and do the pupil. I was kind of having trouble getting my Sharpie to work. Um, I do like the texture that you get from using a Sharpie on this, but it didn't really want to work too well on the eyes. So I'm going to follow that up with a black paint pen and just do a pupil and like outline the little owl eyes. Now, for his little owl beak, I thought I would use one of these little burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree in orange. I just wanted some orange burlap. And I'm just going to cut that down to size and give me a nice little owl beak right here in between the eyes. I just attach it here at the base with a little dot of hot glue so it kind of sticks out a little bit, gives a little bit of a 3D appearance to our little owl. And now it's time to stuff this little guy. I just have some pillow fluff from an old pillow. And I am going to stuff the body first and then stuff the head. I kind of glued the feet shut, so they really didn't get very much stuffing, but I think that's okay. I just try to make the stuffing kind of as thin and flat as possible so it kind of looks, kind of level, but I just do want it to be nice and fluffy. And then I'm just going to use hot glue to seal that back shut with the burlap on top of the burlap. Then to kind of cover that, I thought we would give it kind of a touch of fall with like a fall ribbon. This is like the Dollar Tree burlap ribbon with the little pumpkins on there. And I thought that'd be fun to give it a little fall touch. So I'm just going to hot glue that over the seam. And then we'll just kind of make that into a cute little owl scarf. If I do give this to my son, I'll have to switch out the little scarf here, maybe for some of his school colors. That would be really cute. My son is away at college, and we did visit him last weekend. We went to a college football game with him, and he came home for Labor Day weekend. It was so great having him around. I really miss that kid. So I did want it to look like a little bit of a scarf. So I just cut 2 more pieces of that same ribbon, and I'm just going to glue them here, kind of like it's tied around his little neck. Just a little fun detail, and it covers up that seam, which was kind of necessary. Now for his owl eyes, I think the little wood rings are dry. They really make the eyes stand out, I think. I'm going to use hot glue on the inside and just glue those straight to the front of the burlap. And those are some big owl eyes. I think that's a fun effect. Owl eyes are always a fun thing to do. Now, for the seam around the edges, I wanted to have a stitched appearance. So I thought some of this burlap trim from the Dollar Tree would be really cute, specifically the little squiggly ones. I think that's going to make it look kind of like hand-stitched, just a fun little vibe to go with the burlap. And so I am just going to start hot gluing that all the way around. Now, when I got to the little feet of the owl, it got a little tricky. So I did have to cut down just like little pieces to go back and forth on all of the toes. And then I can always trim that up later. And I just hot glue those on. It was easier than trying to get that ribbon to kind of go around all of those crazy angles. And I love these burlap trims from the Dollar Tree. They have 3 different kinds in a package though. You only get 1 yard of each kind. And so 1 yard was not enough to go all the way around the owl. So I did have to open up another package so I could continue the same cool burlap trim. And see that like the effect that's giving it. I think it really gives it a fun little country vibe maybe. I'm going to stop right here, right before the ear fluff, and then open another package and keep continuing gluing that all around our little owl head. And I think he turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this little burlap owl? Starting with that little kit from the Dollar Tree, I think he looks way more high end. I think he's super cute. I'm gonna trim up his little toes. I guess they're claws, owl claws. And I'm also gonna cut a little piece of that ribbon right here just to kind of make that look a little bit nicer there where the little scarf would be tied. And that's when I was trying to decide if I was going to make him a hanging decoration, and I thought that would be the best. So I just take some Dollar Tree twine, tie a little knot in it, and I'm just going to hot glue that to the back here of our little owl head. And our first owl DIY is complete, our little burlap owl. Isn't he fun? I have to find a special place to display him. Here he is, his big owl eyes and all. He definitely looks like an owl now. And I love that he has a little pumpkin scarf around his neck, a little touch of fall. And again, I think owls for fall is a really fun theme.
He definitely turned out really whimsical with those big giant eyes, but I love him. I really hope you enjoyed these 20 Dollar Tree fall DIYs today. I had such a great time revisiting some of these DIYs. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. I love reading all of your comments. This is my QR code if you would like to buy me a coffee, and you can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. Enjoy the final reveal.
Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Since I was a little child, every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. I wonder where they're going, the flight of swallows sailing through the sky. There's no way of knowing, but maybe someplace far from you and I. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days leaves are turning brown. Red and yellow, soon they'll be falling down. Now, I'm not ready, not just yet. I'm not ready for autumn. Autumn comes too soon. Autumn comes too soon. The light that flickers will blow away the sight, and all that blossomed will wither away and die. Not now, I'm not ready, not just yet. I'm not ready.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's crafting marathon. That always helps my videos do so much better here on YouTube. And I also want to thank, of course, my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, Maria Cruz Pagan, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Mindy Hupp, and Jenny. Thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your phone or your computer. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. And we would love to see your DIYs. Be sure to share them with us in our private Facebook group, always linked in the description of my videos, as well as my Facebook page, which I'm very active on as well. Don't forget to hype this video so it gets to more people out there in the YouTube world. And if you would like more fall crafting inspiration, I've got you covered. Check out one of these DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for fall.